Hey y'all. Hey y'all, hey. What is going on here? This thing just gets on my nerves. I'm kind of nervous about this one, y'all. This is definitely not my normal content and not my area of expertise, but I feel compelled to put it out there, and you know, whatever happens with the information, it just happens. And you know, I ain't looking for nothing big, I ain't looking for nothing small. I'm just looking for myself to be heard, and you know, maybe someone somewhere will be able to benefit from this. And I was trying to do a stream cast, but for whatever reason my my camera wasn't working. I don't know why it wasn't working, and I tried and tried and I troubleshot for the longest, and it just did not work out. So here I am, regular degular. I'm gonna try to get through this. Like I said, this isn't my normal content. This isn't the normal stuff that I talk about. So it's not like I have like a ton of confidence with this. So bear with me, guys. This has been a very, very rough week for me. And I'm re-traumatizing myself all over again by even sharing this with y'all. But hopefully this will help somebody else. It'll help somebody else at some point in their journey, because it is just a lot. It is a lot being a black person in America. It really is. It's a lot. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes. I had to use my old bogus cell phone today. Did not want to use it. Had every intention on using the Streamcast, but it didn't work out. What can you do? So. It's like when you got something, when you just shooting the bobos and you talking crap, you know, it's nothing. You can talk crap and you don't feel no type of way about it. But right now I'm like going into some stuff, and you know, I don't know. I just want to make sure that, you know, I may or may not get through this. I don't know. Let me see here. Just waiting to see who might join in. This is not my normal topics. This is not normally what I talk about or what I express on social media, but it's like, bro, I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm just chilling right now. I'm trying to see if anybody else is gonna come in before I get started. I know I ain't the friend. It's so much stuff, y'all. Like, low key, it's like, honestly, sometimes I kind of feel like, what is the point? Why do all this stuff? Because it's just like one barrier after the other. And it's like, there's nothing I can do to make things, you know, easier for myself. So for all this tuning in, I'm just waiting a few minutes to see if people gonna join in, and you know, then I'll get started. I'm a little nervous because this is actually very, very serious to me. So, I don't know. Whatever, man. I'm going to get started in a few minutes, okay? So just bear with me, all right, y'all? Straight up. Hold on. Take off my jacket. Get comfortable. Shoot. How you doing, Angela? I'm just waiting a few minutes to see if anyone else is gonna join in, and then if so, I'll be getting started in like 3 to 5 minutes. This is not my normal content. This is not normally what I talk about, but I want to talk about this experience that I had this week. I'm gonna try not to be emotional. Hey, C, how you doing, sis? I'm gonna try not to be emotional. I'm gonna try to stick to the facts. Let me put on my cowgirl hat. That make me feel empowered. Because, you know, I generally don't talk about this kind of stuff. And I generally don't put myself in the light of appearing to be at a disadvantage. But I think that on social media, we get so caught up in putting out this persona of always winning that we miss opportunities to really relate to people on a personal level, because life is not all about, you know, winning and being the best and having all the best things and having the easiest life and a life of ease. But, you know, we try to placate that narrative so much on social media that everybody's living their best life, everybody's living a soft life, everybody's getting money, everybody. And it's all for show. Like I said, I was going to try to do this as a, hey, Angela, hey, Manester, I was going to try to do this as a stream cast. Hey, Q. Yeah, I was going to try to do this as a stream cast, but what ended up happening is I couldn't get my camera to work. I don't know what the problem was, but either way, you know, I'm just like, forget it. I'm just going to do some kind of janky stuff. So bear with me if you're catching this on the playback or you're watching this now. Bear with me on the jankiness, okay? Bear with me on the quality. But this is important because of something that I experienced. And it's just, you know, I'm going to give the facts and then I'm going to give my opinion. You got that ring? Yeah, girl. Wow. Ooh, sis, love all the white. Yeah, I'm purifying myself from all this foolishness that I experienced this week. It's wild, man. Y'all would not believe the crap that I just been through. I'm so ashamed. I am so ashamed. And it's not even my fault, but I'm so ashamed. I can't believe I went through this. Like, straight up. Well, okay, enough of you guys are in here to get started. If someone comes in and pops in later, you will have to catch it on the playback. But what we're talking about today is microaggression and invisible disabilities. So, hold on. Again, bear with me on the jankiness because I had a whole stream cast. Look at this. I'm going to show y'all. So this is my desktop, right? And this is my stream cast. Opens up, right? Now, right now, my laptop is down, but the video capture part was black, like my laptop was completely down. So I was attempting to do this like the professional way, but it didn't work out for me because I was having technical difficulties with this software. So today, guys, I'm not going to be as animated and cursing and stuff like that because I'm trying to get a really important point across of the microaggression that I deem that I dealt with this week. You guys can give me your opinion on it. What do you think? Do you agree after I tell you guys this? But I'm going to just give you the facts. You make your own determination after you hear the facts. Thanks for all this tuning in. And the reason why I'm talking about this and I'm deviating from my normal content is because honestly, this is really important. This is stuff that we deal with for real in society. This is stuff that we deal with that is hurting us in society, that is marginalizing us, that's keeping us from opportunities. And I don't think it's fair. I think it's terrible. I think that the way that a lot of these corporations treat Black people is horrible. And this is the reason why I showcase this. It says, you're the whitest Black person I know. You're the whitest Black person I know. Give me a minute to explain. While I'm explaining, please comment, please share. Again, this is hard for me. Like I said, it really broke me down this week. I couldn't even believe what the hell I went through this week. So I'm going to try to my best not to be too emotional, not to be too animated, and just stick to the facts. That's going to be hard for me because it's like I'm re-traumatizing myself all over again. But ultimately, I will give you the overall main idea of what I experienced this week. So there has been this feeling that I've been feeling, and I've been knowing it for a while, that, you know, when you hear these companies talk about diversity and inclusion, baby, they ain't talking about you. What they're talking about is a person who intrinsically lives the life of a European and has the European experience, but they're chocolate covered. Okay, they're Asian, they're Black, they are Mexican, so on and so forth. And one of the things that I want you guys to understand is that it's a buzzword. Like, remember a couple years ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, when woke was the customary buzzword and everybody was talking about how woke they were, so to speak, right? Now, the buzzword in corporate America is diversity and inclusion, okay? And ultimately, all that means is that you are brown or yellow, but your life is European. And I'm bringing this up because of an experience that I had this week that truly rocked me to the core. And, you know, I'm suffering a lot because of it. No, right now, Twilight is not living the dream. I'm not living the life. I'm not living a soft life by any means. I don't even know how I would even be able to live the soft life based on the type of society that we have here and the things that they do in this society. So the thing that I'm talking about here is microaggression, as well as an invisible disability. Okay, so we're going to talk about it, and give me 1 second. Let me load this. I generally don't put myself out here like this, guys, so please bear with me because this is not my norm. I am not comfortable with this at all. Okay, I am not comfortable with this at all. Okay, but I hopefully this will help somebody. And I was attempting to stream this, to do a stream cast, so it was easier for everybody to see, but I was having technical difficulties, so I do apologize for that. Just bear with me. Okay. So if you're looking at the screen, as you can see, this is something where I was given a job offer. And I was given a job offer by none other than, y'all see that? I don't know what kind of backlash this could carry. If you look up the American Federation for the Blind, they will tell you that most people who are visually impaired do have issues with jobs, because it is very difficult for me to convince an employer human people don't pay attention to policies. I'm going to say that again. Human people don't pay attention to policies. What do I mean by that? So prior to me working for my last company and then the company who I took the job from, I worked for another company. I can say their name because the lawsuit is over. And I was only signing an NDA for 1 year. So I worked for a prior company called PayPal. And when I was working for PayPal, I needed what was called adaptive software because of my visual impairment. Now, the way that a lot of people interpret you asking for your adaptive software, larger screen monitors, et cetera, they interpret it to mean that you want special treatment. You want to be treated special from everyone else. And it's really an absurd way of looking at things, but you cannot change people's mentality. People have that mentality. So when I was at Venmo, which is a subsidiary of PayPal, they gave me a decent sized screen monitor. Maybe about this size. Maybe about this size monitor. How you doing to anybody that's tuned in? So I had maybe about this size monitor. And with that size monitor, that was fine, well, and good. But see, I'm a technical person, okay? I've worked in IT support for years. So I kind of went back and forth from IT support to customer support, yada, yada, yada. When you have certain softwares that the company may use, those particular softwares are not always what you call scalable. Scalable simply means that you can take the software and you can increase the font. So, for example, here you can see that the font that I have is all the way turned up. It's increased. And in the browser window, I can do that up to 125%, 150%, 175%. But when you're dealing with legacy software or software that is not accessibility, what is that word looking for? Accessibility friendly. You might not be able to increase the font to make it bigger. So it was never a matter of my brain or my mind or my abilities or my experience. It's a matter of my eyes. I can't make them see what they don't see, right? My intelligence is always going to be there. My ability to articulate is always going to be there. But my eyes can't see what my eyes can't see. That's just period. So ultimately, in my lifetime, I have taken positions that I am overqualified for because of my limitations. I do not drive a car. I cannot drive. I cannot see well enough. I am considered legally blind in the state of Illinois. Okay? Period. Right? When I was a kid and I was in high school, I walked with my head down because I have hypersensitivity to light and I have hypersensitivity to seeing far distances. So I just didn't even try. I used to walk holding my mom or my brother or my cousin's hands. What ended up happening is social adaptation. So what ended up happening is I end up growing socially to the point where now I learn how to look straight forward. Even if I can't see it, I will pretend and look straight forward. I've never been this vulnerable. It is what it is. I'm just going to tell it like it is. Okay? So I will pretend like I can see it by looking straight forward. I know how to look directly at things, and I have a whole lot of internal confidence. But that did not come from people embracing me. It came from people consistently rejecting me and consistently bullying me and putting me in positions where I felt belittled. And just being a fighter. Maybe I get that from my grandmama. Maybe I get that from my mama. I can't really tell you, but it is what it is. So social adaptation. You see, I'm looking straight forward at the camera, right? I can't see You see, I told you I wasn't going to curse. I told you I wasn't going to curse. I ain't going to curse. I can't see an M and F thing. I know that somebody has typed something down there, but until I pull it close to my face, I can't see it. So the fact of the matter is that I'm going to wait and then I'm going to read y'all comments. Okay. But keep commenting. I appreciate it. So ultimately, social adaptation is similar to people who have autism and they mask. You just learn how to get by. Cause you don't consistently want your ass whooped when you were a kid or to be in a fight. Now, one thing about me is social adaptation, period. The bullying stopped after a while, but I'm going to have to tell y'all why on a separate video because I want to remain professional on today. We're going to remain professional on today, okay? They tried me, but they really didn't realize that, like, I'm just a vanilla colored chocolate girl, like, at the end of the day, you know? But anyway, so long story short, this company, PayPal, this is way before the company that I'm talking to you guys about today. I had to sue them because I went in, I asked for a larger screen monitor, but I explained to them that based on their software, which they use Zendesk, Slack, and then some other proprietary software that they were using that wasn't scalable. I said that this software is legacy software. It doesn't have accessibility features in it. It's making it difficult for me to do my job. And even when I'm using accessibility tools, I want you to understand this slowing me down. So it's not like I can't keep up with my peers because, baby, yes, I can. I can even exceed my peers. It's because of the fact that ultimately with the enlargement of the font, it's taking up so much screen real estate that it's difficult for me to meet these productivity guidelines without additional adaptive software. And that man gave me so much hell. He gave me so much pushback. He acted like I was trying to get special privileges when I wasn't. He acted like I wanted them to do something different for me when I didn't. And God willing, it was 2 other people there with albinism that worked there, right? And so I guess we all the same in their minds. So they one girl that they had who also had albinism, and she probably gonna see this video, you know what I'm saying? And she had albinism too. And when I guess they thought that me and her were one and the same. Well, our vision is different. She might not have been considered legally blind. She might actually have been able to drive. Unfortunately, that is not my reality. So I don't get to take hold, and this is just such an uncomfortable space, but that's not my reality. And, you know, the guy was just giving me so much pushback and making it harder for me. And I was having like anxiety attacks. And I just said, you know what, skip it. I'm leaving this place, but I'm not leaving this place without some sort of compensation because unfortunately that's discriminatory. I mean, dude, read the ADA guidelines. How are you a whole VP of a call center and you sitting here thinking that your opinion about how you feel about somebody takes precedence over them telling you they have a real disability? And I even got my doctor to bring in the information to sign off on it. And this is what it annoys me. These people are so smart, but a quick Google search would return for you that most people with albinism have a visual impairment. So it's not really that hard of a concept to grasp. You just don't want to. And it enrages me to no end how many people just act like this is just not a real thing. Like I'm like totally exaggerating my experience. And one thing I had to learn in my experience is I have to take back control of my image and my reality, because people will gaslight you. I've been being gaslit since I was a child, right? People will gaslight you. because of the fact that I can present myself in a decent way, that I can, carry myself nice, and I dress nice, and I keep myself up real nice. This is their excuse for not recognizing that there's something different happening. You know something different is happening because you looking at my face and you see me and you know I'm different, but you still can't put together that this person is telling you that they have an issue. That is crap. And I don't buy it. I think it's caps. It's a lie. And these people are just, they're messed up in the head. They're really messed up in the head. So anyway, what you would consider my situation to be is what we call an invisible disability. This is a website that I often frequent. It's called the IDA, and it's about invisible disabilities. And basically, okay, so this is what you can garner from learning about this. And I apologize if the screen is cut off a little bit. The frequently invisible nature of illness and pain may lead to disbelief about the illness or pain by those surrounding the persons who live daily life with invisible disabilities. The disbelief can lead to misunderstandings, rejection by friends, family, healthcare providers. It may also lead to accusations of laziness or faking illness. Boom. Boom. So this is what I have been dealing with my entire life, guys. This is like my Achilles heel. And I got to tell you, I'm so freaking sick of it. Like, I really am. Who the hell is going to lie about having a disability? Like, asking for an extra monitor and screen and visual things are like you coming up off of the company. Like, how ridiculous are these people? But what it is it's like a jealousy thing. I really think it's a jealousy thing, and it's really sick and sad. So I'm going to get to y'all comments later. Keep commenting. But basically,
benefit documents for your review. I've added you to the thread as I know she wants to congratulate you. I'll be sending you over your offer letter via DocuSign shortly for you to look over and review. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thanks and congrats again. I imagine that's her voice. So I accept the offer letter. Now let's go to my response. Here's the offer letter. Here's the company. Here's the offer letter. Offering me. Here's the job description. Here's the pay. Here's when I start. Boom, bam, boom. Simple. Okay. So I go on to say, hold on. I go on to say, on February 9th, 2024, I say, hi, recruiter, my name. During the pandemic, when everything was pretty much unclear, I worked from home for Arise Virtual Solutions for popular tax software, Intuit. Now, what did we just see over here? Intuit. 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 Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we just gonna leave that right there. So I say I work for popular tax software, Intuit. The work was 1099 contract work, so they don't offer employment verification because technically I was not an employee. The time frame was from 2020 to 2022. So I just wanted to give a heads up. Will that be a problem? Hold on to that thought. Will that be a problem? Will that be a problem? Let's see what answer I got. Hello. Thanks for the clarification. Go ahead and complete as much of the background check as possible. And if our ops team has any follow-up questions, they will reach out to you directly. Okay. Now I think we need to put some music on for this one. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and put some music on for that. Hold on. I mean, all right. So, at this point in the story, we're at where she says, thanks for clarification. Go ahead and fill it out and complete it as much as possible. And blah, blah, blah. They'll check back with me. Now, at this point, I'm thinking this must be their way of saying, well, this is just a formality. It's no big deal. You know, just fill it out because this is what we require. So I go ahead and fill it out to the best of my ability. You know, unfortunately, I don't know how their process works. I don't know it from Adam. So if I ask you what to do, I expect that you will tell me what to do and you will tell me the severity of it, because I asked in the end, will this be a problem? February 9th. So February 15th, I'm waiting around for the background check. And I wanted to kind of get an understanding of what was going on because I was going to put in my 2 weeks notice with my company. So February 15th, I circled back around to them and say they put me in touch with somebody named Betty Boop. Let's just say her name was Betty Boop. So I talked to Betty Boop and I'm like, hey, yeah, so I had this self-employment thing. What should I do? Oh, well, upload this information onto the background check website. So what I did is because the IRS does not give you a W-2 for independent contractor work, I went ahead and uploaded a 1099 as well as a Schedule C 1040. That is what business owners get when they work a business. They do not get a W-2. This is important. This is important. So I uploaded that on February 15th. Now, mind you, all of the follow-up is on my end because for whatever reason, because of my experience with these people in the way that corporate America, the culture of it, because of my experience and my pseudo PTSD, I was really vigilant about keeping up with these people. So this is February 15th, mind you. I'm still working at my job. I'm still trying to get clarity. They tell me to upload it onto the website. I upload it onto the website. I wait a day. Nobody responds to me. So then I hit them back and say, hey, did you guys get it? I put it up there. Oh, that's great, Talise. Wonderful. We'll get back in touch with you. Okay, great. For about 13 more days go by, I hear nothing. I hear nothing. I hear absolutely nothing. Not from the recruiter, not from Betty Boop, not from the ops team, nobody. Okay, so now I'm getting concerned because it's my last day at my prior job, which was February 29th was my last day at my prior job, which was a wonderful place to work, by the way. However, I was just ready to grow. February 28th, I hit them up again. Here we go. February 28th. Very excited about my 3/19 start and completed my HR paperwork on Workday. I just wanted to clarify a few things. Did everything work out with my background check? Because nobody's following up with me. Nobody's giving me direction. Nobody's giving me any insight. So at this point, I'm like, what is going on here? And plus, I know that I'm about to leave my job the next day. So I don't hear anything until March 4th, which was Monday, March 4th. So by then I had already left my job on the 29th, which was Thursday, February 29th, 1, 2, 3 days. March 4th, I finally hear from somebody, some lady in people operations. And they're like, we're sending you a pre-adverse action for your background check. And let me tell you the reasons being. Because I said that, they said that I listed the independent contractor job as an employer. When I didn't list it as an employer, I listed it because there was no other directive given to me. So they said, you listed it as an employer. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't list it as an employer. I listed it because that's what I was told to do. I wasn't given any other direction to the contrary. So I just simply put it in there. And they were like, oh, okay, we get it. But we need W-2s and a check stub. And I'm like, the IRS doesn't provide W-2s and check stubs for self-employment. They provide 1040s and 1099Gs, or 1099s. I can get you 1099s and I can get you 1040 Schedule C's, profit and loss for the tax forms, but that's all that I can do. And possibly get you some invoices, but I can't get you check stubs. And then they were like, oh, okay, we get it. So when you gonna upload them check stubs? I'm sorry? When you gonna upload them check stubs? So the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, does not offer W-2s. Because at this point, I'm like, is anyone hearing me? Am I talking to myself? Is this an echo chamber? I'm like, okay, excuse me, once again, guys, Thanks, guys. I really appreciate all of your feedback. But I just want to make clear, you do know that you don't get W-2s or you don't get 1099s for self-employment. We're clear on that, right? You do understand that I can't produce W-2s. I can only produce 1099s and 1040s. And they were like, oh yeah, Talise, we totally get it. That's great explanation. Really love it. You're really good at explaining things. But when you gonna upload those W-2s? When you gonna upload those check stubs? We need those check stubs. When you gonna upload those W-2s and those check stubs? We need those check stubs now. You gonna upload those check stubs? And at this point, I'm just like, what the heck is going on here? Are these people not listening? Do they not? Are they robots? Am I talking to an AI? What's really going on here? It was really, really disturbing because it was like I was talking to brick walls. And they gave me 7 days to verify things that took their AI-powered software to do in 2 weeks. So to me, it seemed like it was just a formality looking back on it. And so what I did was I sent them what was available. I couldn't send them any W-2s. It was asinine for them to ask for W-2s. Further, the first thing I did on February 9th was ask them, was this going to be a problem? And nobody gave me a definitive answer about anything. It was almost as if they were toying with me. Well, and of course you guys know what happened. Thank you for your patience. As our team reviewed your response to the pre-adverse impact notification sent to you on March 6, 2024, after careful consideration, we have determined that the documentation provided was insufficient. Attached is a post-adverse impact notification to inform you that your job is no longer available with Financial Inc. Please let us know if you have any questions. We wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Okay, y'all, sorry. I had to cut the video short because it began to glitch at this particular mark. So I just want to go over my final commentary. Up until this point, I just pretty much stuck to the facts, and now I'm going to give you my opinion. So after having that experience, you can sort of guess. It's not highly probable, but it's possible that there was some microaggression there. Mainly because in all of my interactions with them, they never addressed the circumstances directly. They never gave any directive. They were very vague about the information. And they also never answered my question directly. So it would be like me saying, hey, how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And they're like, oh, yeah, well, there's ham sandwiches in the refrigerator. And it was a total dismissal of what I was saying. Because as you remember, on February 9th, I explicitly asked, would my 1099 employment be an issue? There was no direct response to that. I was given a vague directive. And upon following that directive, I was then penalized for the direction given. So the way I see it is, it's just easier to throw me under the bus than to admit that there was a gross negligence on the part of the entire hiring team. The second thing is that I could tell that they had not made any kind of provisions in their infrastructure for people who are self-employed. To me, this just signifies like a delusion. I mean, what about people who work for Uber? What about people who work for DoorDash? You're telling me people who work for TaskRabbit, you've never come across this? This is a millennial company with a ton of millennials working for them. A lot of those people have, gig related jobs. This is a gig economy, especially during the pandemic. And there's no protocol and processes to address that. That is completely ridiculous. And if there isn't, there should be one. And no one should have to go through what I went through with these people. Further, during the pandemic, they amassed a lot of complaints because they were closing people's accounts, because they were seeing that people were getting those EID loans, those PPP loans. And I mentioned that earlier. But here's the thing. A lot of people were not getting any income, period. The demographic that was hit the hardest were people like me in my particular demographic, people who are minorities, people who have disabilities, etc. So even with that being said, those things were keeping people afloat during those times. And it seems to me that they have a distinct, almost gaslighting when it comes to the pandemic. Somehow this company has an issue with the pandemic. They had to pay out $2.5 million to the state of California simply because they did not address the complaints in a timely manner. And that is what I was actually being hired for. I went from being a disputes resolution agent to a reputable company, reputable bank, to then now being hired on to handle their disputes with the BBB and the CFPB, which was pretty much a pseudo seamless transition for me personally. I would have pretty much been doing the same thing I was doing at the last bank that I was working for. And you see that they were closing people's accounts due to the fact that they feel like, oh, well, this isn't how much money you normally get, so it's a problem for us. But it's very interesting to me because to me, I feel as if though they had resistance to seeing their second chance consumer base in the light of first chance people. I don't know.
This again is my opinion, but it appears to me that if second chance people become first chance people, their business model goes kapoof. And you never think that an organization that is supposed to represent marginalized groups of people and be their advocacy would actually want you to remain marginalized, but it all makes sense. Because if you're not marginalized, how can their executives live? If you're not marginalized, how will their bank go on? Their bank has no relevance. They're no different than a Chase, a PNC, a Wells Fargo at that point. And then they're competing on a playing field that they obviously can't leverage themselves on. So I kind of garnered from the context of what I said about COVID-19 and self-employment. They just simply regard these things as frivolous and they disregard them as anything substantial, just like they did during COVID-19 when people were getting their money for PPP and EIDL, because people like us aren't supposed to have those kind of opportunities, right? And absolutely, I'm looking into all of my options with this. Trust and believe. But if you made it to this part, you made it all the way to the end. Again, this is not my normal content, but I think that this can help somebody. We definitely need to open up the discussion about microaggression and the lack of diversity and inclusion in these companies' policies. Diversity and inclusion shouldn't just be a word to cover it like affirmative action or whatever have you. It shouldn't just be a word to cover the look of someone different with the same story as the dominant culture. Our stories are different. So if you're going to claim that you're a company that stands behind diversity and inclusion, it has to be more than skin deep. It has to be more than skin deep, because our unique story, our unique transcripts of life should not just be dismissed and bulldozed over as frivolous. And I felt very disrespected. I was very hurt. I was very heartbroken. I cried for days and I just didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I'm like, what am I going to do? I got to pay my rent, and they truly devastated me. And I made it known to them. I asked to speak to, their senior representatives, and they completely ignored me. So, I've reached out to them on LinkedIn and I've been completely ignored. So I can't even get clarification or get my story heard, because I believe that I was extremely proactive, extremely communicative, and there was just simply poor follow-up, poor direction, and just poor insights given throughout the process. And they need to be held accountable for that. So, it's overwhelming. I hate that I'm going through this. I hate that I got put in this position. I did everything to make sure that this would not happen to me, and it still happened. So, at this point, I'm just like at a loss, and I'm just dealing with the grieving and the damages as it relates to this. But this is something that my story that I want to let out to the public, to let them know that things like this is happening, that these companies need to be held accountable, and diversity and inclusion needs to include our story. Not just the fact that we look different, but the fact that our realities are different.